Longtime viewers of the show know that occasionally I like to do something quite a bit different, and we're going to do that today. We are in Ventura, California at the Funky Junk Farms. What is Funky Junk Farms? It's a restoration facility for antique and classic trailers. This place is full of just some of the neatest old trailers you've ever seen. So we're going to take a closer look at these trailers and learn more about them. And the person that's going to help us do that is Mr. Stephen Butcher. Stephen, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, man?
Thank you. You're doing great. This is an amazing place. How did this all come about?
Well, my friend and I were looking through an old Hemmings Motor News about 10, 12 years ago, and we saw this little trailer club that you could join.
Lost Highways?
Correct. And we had these car collection. We figured, why don't we add trailers to it? So here we are.
So it's a natural.
Yeah.
All right. Let's take a look around, see what you have.
Great.
Stephen, it looks like we have something here that is just about as basic as a trailer can be.
Correct. This is probably your first tent trailer. You know, you have those Jaycos now that pop up and everything. But this was your basic trailer for the 1920s, mid to late 20s, where you open up this box, which was a wooden box with wheels on it, and set this framework up and put a canvas top on it, and you're camping.
How common were these type of trailers back then? Did it just really rare to see them, or did they catch on right away?
I believe they were around. They didn't. I don't think they caught on big. Trailers didn't catch on until the 30s, really. But in the 20s, a lot of people. I think more of your elite went camping that wanted to be in the outdoors and stuff. Henry Ford was known for going camping in a house car. He had a car himself.
So this is an example of trailers at the very beginning, and then the natural progression was to something like this?
Correct. A more permanent type of trailer. Now, a gentleman by the name of Arthur Sherman in the early 30s or late 20s went camping in one of these tent trailers, and it took him hours to put it up. So while he was on the camping trip, he drew plans for this trailer, and this is the first model of the covered wagon. And when he went camping in this thing, it was already set up, ready to go. Had a solid roof on it, everything else. So he's sitting inside the thing, and people asking where they could buy one of these. So he started building them in his backyard, and he ended up becoming a multi-million-dollar company. They were all wood and then cloth on the outside. Later, they went to Masonite. In, say, the 30s, they started using Masonite and aluminum. And then the war broke out, so they stayed more with the Masonite, which is pretty much a cardboard. And after the war was over, when aluminum was abundant, a lot of aircraft companies got into the business of building trailers.
How quickly did the trailer camps spring up?
Well, in the 20s, there were these auto camps where there were already these little bungalow type units next to a little carport, and you could pull your car in and camp out in one of these little things. Then the trailers came around, and trailer parks started when affordable living was needed. So in the 30s, after the Depression, people started living in these trailers because they were cheap homes, and there were a lot of them, and there were, I believe, 1,000 trailer companies in the 30s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's take a look inside.
Sure.
Being called a covered wagon seems pretty accurate with the rounded roof and all.
Right. It does resemble the old covered wagons of the old days. It's very basic. It's a Douglas fir plywood inside here. You have your basic little camp stove, a little sink, preparing food top right there, and then a couple of beds. And this is it.
Even though this is as old as it is and as basic as it is, old trailers have a certain class about them. Just
right. They have a little cabin feel to them. You feel like you're really inside an old cabin when you're in these things.
Almost all your basics are covered here. It looks like you have sleeping for, is this for 2 or for 3?
This is actually for 4. There's this little bed pulls down and makes a bed, and then you've got a bunk bed above it, and you've got 2 full-size beds. So it actually be for a couple or 2 couples. Pretty tight quarters.
Yeah,
when
2
you're
very
standing
friendly
around,
couples
but
that get along well. So what would the next progression after this trailer be?
Well, we go to the camping during the Depression era.
Okay, let's take a look.
Great.
Stephen, this is starting to look like what people think of trailers to look like. What is this?
This is a 1934 Curtis Aero car, and originally this did not have the aluminum skin on it. It had a cloth interior or exterior like the covered wagon. It was built by Glenn Curtis, who was an airplane builder, and it was built just like the frame of an airplane. It has the trusses and hind joints to adjust it, and it had the lightweight cloth on the outside. Eventually, the cloth went away, and it went back to the shop, and they built this out of aluminum. They covered it in aluminum. The thing about this trailer itself is it's a fifth wheel trailer, and Glenn Curtis was catering to the rich and elite, so he wanted to be able to carry passengers in the rear. You can take your maid and your servants camping with you, so they can wait on you. So he patented the fifth wheel coupler, which is an airplane rim and tire that you bolted into the trunk of your car. You take the trunk lid off your car, bolt this thing in, and you could pull this trailer down the road.
Very simple.
Very simple.
Can we take a peek inside?
Sure.
This is very roomy. I mean, this feels, you know, we're here. I can see way down there. You could actually live in this one.
And the driver's in the front.
Uh-huh.
This trailer's up for restoration. We're going to restore this trailer. We've been finding the original upholstery for this all over the world, actually trying to locate, and we found a few pieces. Anyhow, this thing here was catered, like I said, to the elite. So you would be sitting right here while the driver is going down the road, and your maid would be cooking you a meal right here. It has functioning roll-up windows, just like a car, pull-down shades and screens. To talk to the driver, you could call him and say, stop at the next bathroom. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah.
I used to have a Spartan Royal Mansion. It was 44 feet long, and it looked just like a diner out of the 50s. This has a lot of the same appeal that it
Right.
had.
Spartan was J. Paul Getty's company. That was a Spartan aircraft company. And after the war, there was an abundance of aluminum, and all the aircraft companies, or quite a few of them, jumped into the trailer market.
So you have the sink, you have the stove, you have the refrigerator.
Right. All your, well, you say sink. First of all, you got this nice sink, but you still had to pump it, so there was no electricity in this. You also had a Coleman stove, which was gas. You pumped your little pumper here and filled it up and ran it. So it was still primitive. And then, of course, an ice box, not an electric ice box. You threw a big block of ice
in there. Wow.
So even the rich had to rough it quite a bit. Thing is, they had somebody that could put the ice in there for them.
So the next obvious question is the bathroom. Where did this one have one?
This one did not have a bathroom. So there would be a chamber pot, of course, that they'd pull out of the closet, and probably had a little area in the back of the trailer with a little tented area, and they could go to the bathroom there.
When did
Or
they start
everybody would
including
leave.
bathrooms in trailers?
Actually, they had bathrooms in these in the 20s. They did have bathrooms. Some were larger, depending on how they ordered. The Curtis Aerocar was custom. It was built strictly from a custom order. So there was no mass-produced trailer and
so if you
and selling
wanted
to the public.
10 toilets, you had them. Just had to pay them.
Right.